So Simon, Munster this weekend, but how confident of the team after last weekend's win?
Yeah, there was lots of good things in our game. The scrum in particular was a real positive, and I thought we played some good rugby in the second half. In particular, our kicking game was good, and I think we can go to Munster with lots of confidence. We'll be missing a few players, and so will they. So hopefully, it will be an even playing field.
They've had quite a lot of time off because they obviously haven't been playing LV Cup. How does that affect? Is it a good thing or a bad thing that you guys are a bit more match fit?
Yeah, I think it allows us, the LV Cup allows us to play some of the fringe players that don't always get opportunities with the Scarlets, some of the regional players that play in the Premiership. So yeah, it allows us to keep players match fit, it allows us to give players a break. Players like Morgan Stoddard, who has had a couple of weeks off his feet and getting himself back into shape after a long rehab period, and then quite a few games, quite a lot of minutes on the pitch. So the LV period gives us an opportunity to get a bit of a mix in our selection and allows us to rest a few players as well. And for them, I suppose, they'll have played, some of them will have played for Ireland A against Fiji, and I think some of them would have played for Munster A against Leinster A on Thursday night. So they will have had a bit of rugby themselves. So. And
second in the table at the minute in the Pro 12, I suppose you're keen to keep the sort of the points flowing in whilst the internationals are away and keep the ball going, rolling. Yeah,
it's an important period for us. We've set our stall out internally about where we want to be, and this next two games are huge. We're playing Munster away, Ulster at home. If we can take points away from teams who are sitting around the same place as us in the table, top 3 or 4 in the league, then it'll set us up nicely come the latter stage of the season. So we really want to be taking points away from these teams this next couple of weeks. So.
It's a difficult side though to have players coming in late, particularly travelling out to Munster, and then like fitting them into your selection.
Yeah, we're a bit fortunate this week and next week. We've got Sunday games, so the bulk of the Welsh preparation should be done by Thursday, and they should pretty much know their match day 23 plus maybe 1 or 2 others that might have to stay with them. So our big training days in this next 2 weeks is going to be our Friday session. We're still 2 days out of before the game, which allows us hopefully to bring those players back in and get a decent amount of training with us in preparation for Munster and Ulster. So we're quite fortunate in the next couple of weeks that the games fall on the Sundays.
Fair to say, Simon, you're all Munster, weren't you? After the last few years. It's been a while.
It has been a while, yeah. And they're just a very good team. They're able to win games that they're not always playing the best rugby in, but they're very good at winning it. I think the Blues game was a good example of that. Yeah. They're missing a lot of their frontline players, but they're still able to pull through and win games that they shouldn't always do. Yeah. New coaching set up this year with Rob Penny coming in, and he's I think he's and Simon Mannix as well, the backs coach. So things have changed slightly, but personnel is similar.
Because they got, in terms of outside run, and they've got a lot of boys obviously who aren't involved with Ireland, like Laulala and Doug Howlett. Big influences.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they recruit very well, and maybe when they're going to miss players like Keith Earls and the likes, they can replace them with players, as you say, likes of Laulala and Doug, who are there all the time, and they're constants in their team, and they're able to select a fairly strong side regardless of who's away with Ireland, and that's a mark of a good squad and a good team.
In terms of the league, it appears there's been a split, top 6, bottom 6. Is that how you see it at the moment?
I think the next 4 games will probably have a big bearing. We've got next 2 weeks, and then we've got Blues and the Ospreys ourselves. And I think that will have a big bearing on, because after Christmas the game become a little bit more sparsely populated. They're spread out a little bit more, and we play a lot of rugby then in the Six Nations period, where we're still missing players. So I think the next 4 games are huge for us and for other teams. We play all the teams in the top 7, I think.
Play Munster, Ulster again in January.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a big period for trying to cement your place in that top 4 and trying to take points away from other teams that are trying to do that as well.
Yeah.
We've got a few boys coming back as well at probably quite an important time. So the likes of Rodri and Rob Evans and others. Obviously Emir was on the bench last week. Good to see some of those boys coming back in this next period. So
Rodri and Rob will hopefully be available fully next week. Emir came back and was a welcome return for him, and an early return really. So he's done very well, and the medical and rehab S&C staff have done very well at getting his recovery shortened, and he looks great. Especially now that we've got 3 hookers training with Wales. We're fortunate that it's timely return in that position. But we are getting back up to speed. There are a couple of concerns, medium to short term injuries over the next 5 to 6 weeks, but we'll probably know more on those in the next couple of days.
In terms of Jordan, what's the latest on him? Obviously last time we spoke, I think he was due to have further
he's I think he's on schedule, but it's probably not until the beginning of January.
Right, okay.
So it's a shame really, because there was potentially plenty of rugby for him in this period, but he wouldn't probably he's still in a sling, so he won't come into contention, I don't think, until beginning of next year.
In terms of the Welsh boys in that setup, how much do you think you know them well enough? How much will they be hurting after the last 2 weekends?
It'll be a huge frustration for them that they haven't been able to produce probably the kind of rugby that they know they can produce. That's probably the most frustrating thing about when you play the game, is that you train all week and you think things are going so well in training, and they've trained against opposition and things go well, and then you get out onto the pitch against another team and then things don't quite work and click, and the frustrations will be huge. It's not for lack of effort, like some people in the punditry have mentioned recently. I don't think there's any lack of effort at all, but lack of execution possibly, and they don't become a bad team overnight. There's lots of good players in that setup. They're missing a few as well, and hopefully by Australia they can have everyone back to full fitness, and they can select a full squad to hopefully finish the autumn on a good note, and they'll come back to us hopefully in a positive frame of mind.
Sean Edwards said that he thought Jonathan Davis was one of the key players missing, and he could be the key to sort of a rejuvenated team. Agree with him?
Yeah, I think any side would miss John from their lineup. So I'd agree with that. And he's been a big player for us at the start of the season, and Wales will always miss a player of John's quality. So.